Hey guys, Connor here today at etrailer.com. Today we're going to be going over and showing you how to install the Roadmaster front anti-sway bar here on our 2009 Coachworks Sienna. So this is what our front anti-sway bar is going to look like. As you can see here, we're going to have 2 points of contact. One point of contact here with our front axle, and the other point of contact is up above to our frame. A front anti-sway bar is a very important upgrade to your motorhome here. Essentially, what this does is, we talked about it provides a link between the axle and the frame. So when we're out on the highway and we're driving, we get passed by a semi and that big gust of wind is going to hit the side of our RV and it's going to rock us side to side, give us sort of an unnerving feeling, making it feel like we're losing control of our motorhome. But with our front anti-sway bar here, it's going to tighten that connection, so we're not going to experience as much of that body roll effect. So in addition to the large gust of winds, we may also experience this body roll effect while we're making sharp evasive maneuvers. So when we're transferring the weight back and forth on the front axle, we're again going to have that similar effect of our body rocking side to side, which is known as body roll. The connection we've just installed between the frame and the front axle is going to help tighten that up and limit that side to side movement, giving us more control of our motorhome and making us more confident out on the road. So in regards to installation, we really don't need to make a lot of modifications to our motorhome here. We actually only have to drill one hole on each side of our frame. But aside from that, everything's pretty much bolt on. So overall, there's actually quite a few improvements we can make to our motorhome to help us feel safer when we're out on the road. Number one, we have the front sway bar, which we've showed you how to install now. A few other ones you may be interested is a rear sway bar, sumo springs for the front and rear, and a steering stabilizer. Overall, these products are going to help you feel more comfortable while you're out on the road. So now that we've gone over some of the benefits and features of our front anti-sway bar, let's go ahead and jump into that installation and show you how it's done. So the first step of our installation, we need to come under the front of our motorhome here. And if we find the front leaf spring pack here, we're going to look in front of this. We're going to see our U-bolt here, which is attached with these 2 nuts. So we need to make sure that we're in front of the axle and not behind it, because there's going to be a U-bolt on either side. We need to go ahead and remove these 2 nuts using a 15/16 inch socket. Now to help us remove these, we're going to go ahead and take some penetrating oil. We're just going to spray them down. Now ideally, we'd want to let that sit a little while. We actually have an impact here, so it's going to make it a little bit easier for us to get these off. But let's go ahead and zip them out now. We'll go ahead and repeat that process on the other side. So once we get the nuts removed from the U-bolts, we're going to take our B426 bracket here. We're going to go ahead and place that into position. And we're going to re-secure it with our factory washer and nut. But for this step, we're not going to tighten anything down. We're just going to snug up all the hardware. Now, once we have our nuts threaded on, again, we're not going to tighten anything down, just snug everything up. We'll go ahead and repeat that process on the other side. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our driver's side frame bracket, which you can see is the B425 bracket we have here. It's labeled for the driver's side. And if we take a look inside the driver's side frame rail, directly in front of our front axle, we can see a 3/4 inch hole here in about the middle of the frame. That's actually going to line up with the oblong hole we have here in our bracket. Now we have some lines there, but we need to go ahead and try to sneak our bracket to align up those holes there. So now we're going to take a 3/4 inch bolt that comes in our kit here. We're actually going to come from the outside and try to thread that in and line up those 2 holes there. So make sure before we insert our 3/4 inch bolt that we use the supplied 3/4 inch washers on our kit, one on the bolt head side and one on the nut head side. We may need to maneuver the bracket in order to get everything to fit properly. And it is a pretty tight fit, so we actually need to go ahead and turn the bolt and thread it into the hole like you see we're doing now. Now we can go ahead and take our 1 1/8 inch socket and wrench and tighten it down. Now we can go ahead and torque everything down to the factory specifications. So now that we have our 3/4 inch bolt tight, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to come on the inside here, we're going to see this other 1/2 inch hole here. We actually need to drill through the frame to drill out that hole. So we're going to take our 1/2 inch drill bit, we're just sort of going to get a pilot started so we can get the center of that hole. Once we have a good center point there, we can take a smaller drill bit and go ahead and drill out that hole there. Now when we have our hole drilled through, we're going to take our 1/2 inch bolt here with one of our flat washers. We're actually going to come around to the outside and stick our bolt through. Then we can follow that up with a flat washer and a 1/2 inch lock nut. Now we'll go ahead and tighten and torque that bolt down. Now we can go ahead and torque our bolt to the amount specified in our instructions. So the next thing we need to do is, we need to get in our kit, we need to get out these shim brackets as well as the axle clamp brackets. And the way this is going to work is, we're going to put the shim under there like so, and then we're going to follow this up with our clamp bracket, just like this, which is basically just going to sandwich to the bottom of the frame. And then we're going to attach them using our 7/16 inch bolts. We want the bolt head to be on the bottom side. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now we'll take a 16mm socket and wrench, go ahead and snug everything down, then we can torque it to spec. So now we're going to take our anti-sway bar here, and we're going to attach it to our axle brackets using our 5/8 inch bolts. We'll go ahead and do that for the other side as well. Now we'll go ahead and torque our bolt down to the amount specified in our instructions. We'll just repeat that process on the other side. So now we're going to go ahead and take our drop links here and attach them to our axle brackets using the 5/8 inch bolts that come with our kit. I'll just go ahead and torque these down. We can go ahead and repeat that process on the other side. So now we're going to take our bushings here out of our bracket. We're going to take some of the provided grease that came with our kit here. And we're going to apply some to the inside of our bushings. We're going to do this for both of the bushings that we have. So once we have our bushings nice and lubricated, we're going to grab our anti-sway bar. We're going to hold it up to the drop link brackets so we can see approximately where we need to install the bushings. And we'll just open them up and clamp it around like so. We'll go ahead and repeat that process on the other side. So now we'll take our bracket, we'll go ahead and secure it to the drop link with our sway bar attached using the last of our remaining hardware. Now we can just repeat this process on the other side. Now we'll go ahead and snug up our hardware. So now we'll go ahead and tighten everything down using a 19mm socket and wrench. Our final step here will be to take our 15/16 inch socket and make sure we tighten and torque down the two nuts for our axle U-bolts. And don't forget to torque our U-bolt nuts down to the manufacturer's specifications. And that's going to do it today for our look and installation of the Roadmaster front anti-sway bar here on our 2009 Coachworks Sienna.